The sun hung low over the African savanna, casting golden rays across the swaying grasses. The wind was gentle, warm, and carried with it 1,000 scents. The perfume of dry earth, the rustle of distant herds, and something else. Something fresh. Rudo, a mature male lion in his prime, moved with deliberate grace. His mane, tinged with dust and sunlight, rippled with every step. He was not merely wandering. He was hunting. Hunger tugged at his belly, sharp and insistent. Then he caught it. The scent. Rich. Unmistakable. Fresh meat. Eyes narrowing, he followed the trail, weaving through golden grass toward a lone acacia tree. Beneath it, as if offered by the land itself, lay a generous cut of raw flesh. But something was wrong. The meat was too clean, too perfect, too still. For a brief moment, Rudo paused. A flicker of instinct, unease. But the hunger was louder. He stepped forward. One bite. Snap. A roar shattered the stillness as a hidden net exploded upward. Rudo was lifted, limbs tangled, muscles straining. He was caught, not by predator or prey, but by something far more dangerous. Man. Across the sunlit branches of a nearby fig tree, the rustling began. Soft at first, then louder. A troop of 10 vervet monkeys, full of mischief and mirth, had heard the roar. Among them was Kibu, the oldest and cleverest of the group. A wiry fellow with quick eyes and a knack for spotting trouble. They bounded toward the commotion, swinging branch to branch, tails high and curiosity aflame. There, hanging awkwardly from the acacia, was Rudo, the king of these plains, now snared like a common thief in a hunter's trap. The monkeys paused, then erupted into a chorus of hoots and screeches. They pointed, bounced, and giggled. A lion. Their lion. Helpless and tangled. Some hurled twigs. Others poked the net from a distance, emboldened by the safety of ropes and height. Rudo's growl rumbled deep, but his power meant nothing now. His flanks heaved with each breath, and one great paw was twisted, bleeding against the mesh. The fire in his eyes had dulled, not with fear, but with pain and pride. Slowly, the laughter died. Kibu descended from the branches and stood still. Around him, the troop quieted. Something had shifted, from mockery to concern. The jungle, it seemed, had just remembered its balance. Kibu tilted his head, eyes narrowing with purpose. With a sharp trill, he signaled to the others. The troop responded instinctively. The teasing was over. Now came the work. 2 monkeys climbed the tree, nimble fingers tugging at the knot above where the net clung to the branch. Others leapt onto the mesh itself, hanging from its sides, chewing furiously at the coarse twine. One brave youngster, Timo, scrambled up Rudo's side, reaching for a tight strap near the lion's shoulder. His teeth met resistance. The rope was thick, soaked with tension and time. He bit harder, but his grip faltered. With a squeak, he slipped, only to be caught mid-air by a companion's outstretched arms. Below, the effort intensified. Little hands pulled, stretched, and tugged. Rudo groaned, a sound deep and weary, his muscles trembling from hours of suspended strain. The sun hovered lower, casting golden streaks through the grassland. The monkeys, though tireless in spirit, were beginning to falter. One by one, they dropped to the ground, panting. Kibu stood apart, chest heaving, gaze fixed on the horizon. And then he saw it. Far beyond the tall savanna grass, glinting in the sunlight, stood the tower of the ranger station. A bold decision took root in his mind. There was still hope, but it would mean leaving the troop behind. Kibu climbed swiftly, ascending to the highest limb of the fig tree. Below him, the others watched in silence. A rare stillness among monkeys. He turned once more toward Rudo, still suspended, still suffering, then faced the horizon. The ranger station lay beyond the Thornveld and across the open grassland, a dangerous path, especially for one so small. But Kibu had made his choice. With a deep breath, he leapt, branch to branch. He flew like wind-carried leaves, his tiny heart pounding. He dodged the shadow of a hawk circling above, hurdled thorny shrubs that reached like claws from the earth, and soared past a startled herd of impalas, scattering in alarm. At last, the familiar clearing opened before him, the ranger station. Inside, Ranger Elias, a man whose boots had long since molded to the rhythm of the land, was polishing his binoculars when a sharp thumping broke his focus. He turned to the window. A monkey, screeching, desperate. Kibu pointed, yanked, pleaded, and Elias, a man who had seen too much to doubt instinct, grabbed. There is always more to discover. As Elias leaned back in his wooden chair, the night symphony of the savannah rolled in through the open window. The distant hoot of an owl, the rustling of unseen creatures in the grass, and the rhythmic hum of insects singing their age-old songs. But tonight, those sounds carried a new note, not just the call of the wild, but the echo of something deeper, unity. Far out in the plains, Rudo moved with careful steps beneath the starlight, his strength returning with each breath. Though the trap had left its mark on his body, something had changed within him too. He no longer walked as a solitary king. Now, he carried within him the memory of small hands that had freed him, of eyes that had seen not a beast, but a life worth saving. And somewhere, watching from the high branches of a marula tree, Kibu sat with a thoughtful gaze, his troop quiet around him. The wind tugged gently at his fur. He had done something few monkeys had, not just witnessed history, but shaped it. The days that followed brought more than whispers. Word of the lion's rescue spread beyond the boundaries of the reserve. Conservationists, local guides, and elders of nearby villages spoke of the strange alliance. A man, a lion, and a band of vervet monkeys. Some called it legend. Others saw it as a sign. And at the heart of it all, Elias found himself changed. He began to see the savannah not just as territory or terrain, but as a living storybook where every creature, great or small, had a voice, a part to play, a lesson to teach. Weeks later, Elias returned to the same clearing. The broken net had long been cleared away, but he brought something new, a small wooden sign. He drove it gently into the earth beneath the acacia tree. It read, "The Place of Mercy, where the wild chose kindness," and under it, a simple carving of a lion, a monkey, and a man standing in harmony. The troop often returned to that spot, lounging in the branches, grooming one another in the sun. Sometimes, when the wind was just right and the light hit the grasses in a certain golden hue, Kibu would turn toward the horizon, waiting, watching, and every so often, a distant roar would rise, not in anger, but in strength, a call to the land. A reminder that Rudo was still out there, still walking, still remembering. And as for Elias, he continued to roam the savannah, binoculars at his side, journal in his pocket, and a renewed heart in his chest. Because in the end, this place, this untamed, unpredictable, breathtaking wilderness had given him more than just stories. It had shown him that even in a world ruled by instinct, where survival often overshadows sentiment, there is still space for the extraordinary. A lion may rule the land, a man may walk it, and a monkey may swing through its branches. But when they come together, even briefly, something magical happens. A bond is formed, a memory is made, and a wild heart beats not just for survival, but for connection. If you were moved by Rudo's story and the unexpected courage of Kibu and his troop, let us know in the comments. Share your thoughts, your favorite moment, or even your own story of unlikely compassion. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a tale from the untamed corners of the earth. Because in every rustling leaf, every distant roar, and every curious eye, There's a story waiting to be told, and we'll be right here to tell it. Together, let's keep discovering.